friends, and welcome to CareersTalk. In CareersTalk, we invite industry experts to share their valuable interview experience with all of us. And today I'm glad that Arun is joining us from Pune, India. He's having 13 years of total IT experience from last 6.5 years. He's working as a Scrum Master. And recently he cracked 3 interviews and couple of other offer letters are in pipeline. So, and all these questions which we are going to, ask today with Arun are the common interview questions which were already asked in the previous interviews. So before we start, friends, if you are new to our channel, please subscribe. And at the end of the session, please do hit like button. Your one like is a big motivation for all of us. So with this thought, welcome Arun, and thanks for giving your time today, Arun.
Thanks a lot, Sunil. It's always a pleasure to watch the videos of CareersTalk and always to talk to you as well. So it has been very helpful for me as well during my interview preparation. And yeah, so I would certainly like to extend a big thanks to the whole CareersTalk family.
Great. Thanks, Arun. Okay. So if you allow, shall we start?
Yeah, please let's go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the very first one is regarding your roles and responsibility as a Scrum Master. But I would say, like, if you want to add what's a typical day of a Scrum Master look like in the same question, that will be great, Arun.
Yeah, sure. So I have been working as a Scrum Master since quite some time now. And on a day-to-day basis, I work very closely with my development team. I talk to them. I try to understand what kind of obstacles or impediments they are facing in completing the user stories which they have selected as part of the sprint backlog. I also try to understand if they need any help or any support from external stakeholders who are the external users or from the product owner to understand any user story, if they have any doubts, if they feel that a user story has certain risks, assumptions, or dependencies associated with it. So I would like to understand from my development team on all these aspects. I also discuss very closely with my development team to implement some of the good engineering practices. So continuous improvement, of course, is one of the key ideas of which is driving the whole Scrum framework. So I keep on discussing with them on how to simplify things, how to automate something, how to make things easier for the whole team, so that we are able to increase our velocity, we are able to deliver things in a better way. Along with this, I also work very closely with my product owner. So my product owner is from my customer organization, and he is somebody who may not understand things from a technical standpoint, but he is certainly somebody who's adding a lot of value to the product because he understands the user stories, he understands the business processes which are there, and he brings a lot of value add to the whole product. So I work very closely with him. He needs my help in prioritizing the product backlog item, the user stories which are there in the product backlog. There are several user stories which are flowing into my product backlog, which may not add any value add to the product. So we also discuss very closely with him. I also help my product owner in engaging or aligning with the external stakeholders because the product which we are building right now, it has got a huge user base community. So there are a lot of users who we actually need to give us an early feedback of the product, and also to get their suggestions, their ideas on how we can improve further with this whole product, because they are key participants of the user acceptance testing phase as well. Apart from this, I'm also part of some initiatives within my own organization where I am, responsible for sharing some of the best practices, ideas, some of the things which we are doing as part of our agile project, because there are certain other teams which are still following the non-agile frameworks. They are either in the waterfall model or they are following other models, but all of them need to start following agile or scrum in the days to come or in the weeks to come. So we also share these ideas. We help people to get a better understanding, get insights on what we are doing. And if they have any questions, if they need any extra sessions, if they need any mentoring sessions, grooming sessions, we can also help them in that regard.
Okay, thanks Arun for that answer. Okay, so now let's move on to the second one. And the second one is, what is the most important Scrum event according to you, Arun?
Right. So all Scrum events, whichever have been defined in the Scrum framework, are of absolute importance. All of these events are an opportunity to inspect, adapt, and find out what is going right with the project and how can we improve further. But to me, I think still retrospective. Personally, I believe that it is the most important event because it is an opportunity where we are actually introspecting of what has gone well in the project and what could have been done better. So it is actually a setup wherein we are trying to find out the ways of continuous improvement, which I believe is one of the most important ideas on which the whole Scrum framework lies. I mean, my personal favorite event is a Scrum retrospective, but we do conduct all the events with the same kind of vigor and enthusiasm with which we conduct the retrospective event.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And how do you conduct your daily Scrum? So, did you do something differently in your daily Scrum call, or want to share something?
Yeah. We started with this whole idea of conducting the daily Scrum meetings with the tried and tested formula of what have you done during the day, what are you planning to do on the following day, and are you facing any impediments or obstacles in completing the user stories which you are working on. So we used to conduct the daily Scrum meeting in the similar fashion, and what I saw was that there was a lot of the team was kind of feeling not so good about it. They were not feeling very enthusiastic about attending the whole daily Scrum event. And the team members also started complaining that why do we have to attend a daily Scrum meeting even if we are sitting close to each other? We can also talk to each other. We can update the Kanban board, and we anyways know what each one of us are doing. So I understood the problem. In the next retrospective meeting, which took place in the team at the end of the sprint, I explained the purpose of the daily Scrum to the whole team. I told them that this is an opportunity for us to inspect and adapt our daily progress. And if we need to make any adjustments in the way we are doing or the things we are following, it is a wonderful opportunity for us to adapt to things. So the team understood, but I also thought that maybe we should do it in a different way that it becomes interesting for all the team members. So I came up with this idea of implementing a daily Scrum board. So my daily Scrum board contains my sprint backlog items in the form of a Kanban board, wherein all the items are listed as is captured very well. So what happens is that all of us have a very clear idea or a very clear picture of what each one of us is doing in the team, and it kind of increases the transparency within the team. And if somebody from outside the team, maybe my line manager or someone else higher up in the hierarchy, also wants to look at the progress of the team, they can simply look at the Kanban board. They can have a look at our Scrum board, and they do not need to ask questions to us. Another thing which I implemented in the daily Scrum board was a sprint goal. So we have decided or we have discussed this sprint goal in the sprint planning meeting. So it is captured very clearly in the daily Scrum board, so that all of us get reminded about our sprint goals in a very clear way throughout our sprint. The next thing is the daily burn down chart. So the daily burn down chart is also updated. So I update this chart just before our daily Scrum meeting, so that all of us have a look at the daily Scrum board, and we try to find out how many efforts have we consumed so far and where have we reached. So after implementing this kind of a structure in place, a lot of team members started participating in the daily Scrum meetings very keenly. And the conversations were not restricted to those old three questions, but it was more of a freewheeling conversation where people were able to express their ideas and beliefs very openly in front of the whole team. And this certainly led to an increase in our productivity as well, I would say.
Great. Great. Thanks, Arun. Okay, and now let's talk about retrospective techniques which you have used in the past, and I mean something which you stand out well for you, or which worked for you.
Yeah. So I've tried out several retrospective techniques, to be honest. I have tried out the SAD, MAD, GLAD techniques, wherein You have, you put up a board and you categorize, you put up these three emojis, sad, mad, and glad, and you ask people like what drove them, what made them crazy or, mad during the whole sprint. What is something which they feel can be improved and which made them sad? What is something which actually made them happy and we should continue doing it? So it should be listed under glad. So a lot of participants who were participating in the retrospective during this, when we started using this tag gland, they were quite happy about it, and they felt that okay, so this is not something which is a typical meeting wherein they have to sit, they have to take the notes, they have to apply brains, but instead it was something which just gave them an opportunity to express their ideas very clearly, and at the same time they were also learning from their peers because there were certain things which I could have felt was driving me crazy, but it could have been a value add to somebody else in the team. So it gave the whole team a good perspective of everything. Another technique which I found out recently and I have also implemented in my team was this ESPP, where you have explorer, shopper, vacationer, prisoner. So these are the four titles or these are the four roles. So you ask people that what do they feel like? Do they feel like an explorer? Do they feel like a vacationer? Do they feel like a shopper? Do they feel like a prisoner? And then they have to express their opinion. So if somebody is feeling like a vacationer or a prisoner in the team, then we need to ask them, we need to talk to them because these are the two roles where the person who's working in the team does not feel himself or herself to be a part of the team. So we used to speak and we used to try to understand why they were feeling like a prisoner or in the team. And we used to put up their ideas. Maybe it is something which is bothering them. Maybe the workload is too much for them. Maybe they are being assigned the user stories, which they are finding really difficult to complete because of certain technical challenges, certain operational challenges, and so on and so forth. I followed technique. I know about other techniques as well, but I think these are the two techniques which have worked well for the team, and we have kind of been following these in our respective meetings.
Okay, thanks a lot, Arun, for that. Okay. So now next question is on conflict management. So you might have seen a lot of conflict in your team in the past. So could you just give some examples and how you work with those conflicts?
So I have seen conflict in the team between the team members, between the product owner and the development team members. So I've seen both these conflicts. So I'll talk more about the conflicts within the team and how I have tried to resolve them. So I will tell you about a situation where the senior developer in our team who came from who had a good amount of experience in working with this particular tool or technology. So when he joined our team, and he had worked in waterfall model projects throughout his career span, I would say. So when he joined this project of ours and when he joined our development team, we explained it to him that this is something where we follow the Scrum framework and we are going to adopt the Agile methodology and you have to stick to it. And this is a situation wherein you have to go ahead and select your own items on which you want to work during the whole sprint. So he was really not very open to this whole idea of selecting, user stories on his own. So he started questioning us. He started asking me, what if I'm not able to complete these user stories in the particular sprint? Are you going to penalize me for it? Are you going to, give a negative feedback during my appraisal, or is it going to impact me negatively in my career growth? So he had all those apprehensions. He had all those fears in his mind which he was not able to express very clearly, but he was kind of frustrated. He became agitated and he said that no, I am not going to pick up user stories on my own, but instead, someone senior or in fact you as a scrum master should assign me the user story and then I'll be able to complete it. So the rest of the team, the rest of the team understood the whole situation and they started picking up user stories on their own to complete. But for him, I made an exception and I started assigning user stories to him in our daily scrum calls or in sprint planning meetings. And he used to pick up the user stories and work on them. In the retrospective meetings, which happened during the end of the sprint, I started putting up questions before the team. So I did not pinpoint directly to him, But instead, I asked the whole team that how do you guys feel about selecting the kind of user stories you want to work upon? Or how do you feel about being independent in selecting the work you want to do during the whole sprint? And the team was very happy. The team expressed that they were very happy, felt very excited, they felt independent, and they think that they have authority over what they want to do, how they want to when they want to do, and they have also got a good amount of flexibility. So eventually, after a couple of sprints, the senior developer who was part of our team, he understood the whole context. And one day he came up to me and he told me that I do not want you to assign me the user stories any longer, and I would follow the same what other team members are doing, and then I would select the user stories from the product backlog, from the sprint backlog, and go on those user stories. So yeah, I mean he learned his lesson, and he started working collaboratively with the whole team. So that was one very good conflict which kind of went on for a very long. Another conflict which I would like to mention was about one of the code review meetings we had in our team, wherein somebody who was well established in the team, who was working in the team for quite some time, gave some not so constructive criticism of the code written by somebody who has joined the team very recently. So this other guy who had joined the team very recently was he was a campus recruit. He joined fresh after college. He had some amount of training with this particular technology. He joined our team. We also gave him some hands-on training, and then he started working on the deliverables. So this guy in turn was dependent on the senior person. He was asking him a lot of questions, and the senior person in the team started feeling threatened. He thought that maybe if he's going to reveal all the secrets, if he's going to groom the other person in a way that he learns everything. So he is the senior person would no longer be required in the team, and maybe we would bring in more junior resources to bridge that kind of gap. So I understood the whole situation. I kind of talked to them on a one-on-one basis. I made them realize that it is not going to be the case. We will always have a good mix of senior and junior and all kind of resources in our team. So we must not feel threatened or we must not feel intimidated by anybody in the team, but instead we should be working together as a team. So the senior person understood the whole context and he started helping out the junior guy. So we worked cordially with each other then.
Great. Thanks, Arun, for that. Okay. Okay. So next question is on velocity. So first of all, what is velocity? And if let's say your project manager or someone will come and he or she is going to ask you like, how do you plan to increase the velocity of your team? So how you're going to work on that?
Yeah. So if I have to define velocity, I would term it as a metric wherein it is one of the important metrics of the team, wherein we are actually highlighting the number of story points which we are able to complete in a particular sprint. So the story points which were selected or which were initially identified in the sprint planning meeting, whether or not we are able to complete all those user stories in a particular sprint. In my opinion, as well as in opinion of several other people who are working as Scrum Masters or who are working as senior Scrum Masters in Scrum framework, velocity is not the most important metric. So I would say it is an important metric, but it is not the most important metric of agile software development. So the most important metric is of course the working software product. And there have been numerous instances, I would say, in my experience as a Scrum Master, as well as in the experience of other Scrum Masters who I talk to, who I discuss with on a regular basis, that their line managers, the project managers, the delivery heads who have come to them and have told them that why is the velocity of your team going down? Why is the velocity of your team this much? Why can't it be increased to a certain level? Or why can't we deliver these things in the lesser amount of time? And it happens mostly with the service-based companies, service-based organizations, because we have a customer organization and there is a lot of pressure on the customer also, from external stakeholders, from his own company, and that pressure ultimately cascades to this the service-based organization. So what I tell them is that there can be certain certain parameters because of which the velocity of my team is low, because we are adhering to good engineering practices. We have not incurred any technical debt. So I have seen teams which have a very high velocity, which are completing a lot of story points which they have selected during the sprint planning meetings. But when I look at their code, the code is not has not been refactored for a very long time. The code has certain, I would say, they're not following good programming practices, and at the same time, they have incurred a lot of technical debt. They have a lot of bugs which they have not been able to solve, which is ultimately going to impact their, future sprints or further releases. But at this point of time, they are showing high velocity. They are incurring the technical debt time and again, and they are moving ahead. So the management may not look deeper into what is going on in the background, but after a couple of releases, I'm sure the whole thing is going to be exposed, and it is not going to, the whole software product is going to go for a toss. So this is how I have explained to my manager or to other managers in the past as well. And I keep on emphasizing the fact that velocity is not the most important metric when it comes to this Scrum framework.
Okay, thanks, Arun, for that. Okay, this one is little interesting with respect to Scrum Master interview. And the question is about defect leakage into the production. So, as a Scrum Master, what is your take on that?
Yeah. So this has actually happened with me. We were working on this product wherein we were testing, and defect leakages were reported into production in subsequent sprints, in continuous sprints. So I sat with the person who was actually doing this QA testing, and I tried to understand his pain areas and what he was facing, or why was there a defect leakage, why we were not able to find these defects in the SIT or in the other testing phases, and why are these defects being found in production. So what I found was that the person who was doing the testing, he was trying to find out the bugs. He was running those tests. Most of it was manual testing, and there was nobody who was actually reviewing the work which he was performing. So the first measure, very first measure which I introduced was the 4I principle, wherein I told him that whenever you are doing some testing, whenever you are trying to find some bugs, there should be somebody else in the team. It could be another person from the QA who's working as a QA. It could be me. It could be any other developer in the team who's actually reviewing what we have done, who's actually reviewing the bugs we have found in the system, and who's actually looking into the retest status of the bugs once they are fixed. So this helped us to catch a lot of other bugs also in the system. And the second most important thing, or the second most important policy which I implemented, was to ignore the test cases, because on this particular product we were doing a lot of regression testing. A lot of regression testing because the code base was huge, and a lot of features were delivered in every 4 weeks sprint. So I try to automate the whole regression testing so that we are not spending any extra efforts, any efforts on doing the regression test. We started using Selenium. We started using this automation tool. We built up a framework, and we were able to automate the regression testing to up to an extent of 70 to 80%. So we saved in a lot of efforts, a lot of our time, and at the same time we were able to give some kind of value add to the customer, because the customer organization was also very happy with this whole idea of automating the test cases, implementing using Selenium or using the keyword driven framework. So that is how they appreciated the whole idea, and at the same time it also helped us to reduce the defect leakage to production to a very great extent.
Great. Thanks, Arun. Okay, so according to you, how many teams can a Scrum Master should support or work with? What is your experience?
Yeah. So it's a very subjective question, I would say, and so it totally would depend upon the capacity of the Scrum Master, of how many teams he would like to work with. Usually, in my opinion, I personally think that the Scrum Master can easily work with up to 2 to 3 teams. More than that would add certain burden on him, because then he would not be termed as a full-time Scrum Master. He would not be able to participate, or he would not be able to facilitate all the ceremonies. He would not be able to, you know, try to understand the conflicts, or help in the conflict resolution of all the teams. He would then turn to be a PMO, rather, if he is working with more than, two teams or more than three teams. He would in fact start working as a PMO, where he's actually taking notes, he's setting up meetings, he's talking to people, he's circulating minutes and so on. But to work as a Scrum Master, he also needs to take care of certain other things, certain other aspects of Scrum within the team. So it would be good, it would be best if the Scrum Master restricts himself to at most three and 2 to 3 teams while working on a particular product.
Great. Thanks, Arun. Okay, so this one is little generally like what are the pillars of Scrum? So would you like to throw some light on that?
Yeah. So the 3 pillars of Scrum are transparency, inspection, and adaptation. And each of the Scrum events, starting from our sprint planning to the daily Scrum meeting, to the sprint review meetings, and finally the sprint retrospective and the whole sprint itself. So each of the events in the Scrum journey are actually an opportunity where we can look at, where we can inspect, or I mean, where we can implement these 3 pillars of Scrum. All these events are an opportunity for us to inspect, adapt, to be transparent towards towards each other in the team, as well as to the external stakeholders who are outside the Scrum team but have an important role to play in the whole product journey. So they can also feel about it. They also get a very clear picture of what we are doing as a Scrum team. So these are the 3 pillars, and all of these events in the whole Scrum journey are actually an opportunity for us to, imbibe or to look upon these 3 pillars very closely.
Okay, and as per you, which is the most important agile value, and why
Uh,
is it so important
so
for
all
you?
values are important. Yeah. So I personally, I'm a fan of responding to change towards all the plans. So this is particular value, because one of the key ideas when you are implementing the Scrum framework or any other agile methodology is that you need to change the mindset of the people. So rather than being a software development model or any other model, I would say that it is a change of mindset which needs to happen, or which needs to take place in the team very clearly, so that we start absorbing the ideas of this new mindset, and we start working as per it. So I personally feel that we must always respond to a change. Change is something which is unavoidable. It is inevitable. It is always going to happen, no matter how many parameters you can control, or how many parameters do you want to take control of. So the change is imminent, and we must always adhere to it. We must try to absorb the change. We must try to adapt ourselves to become better whenever a change is happening. So to me, this value of responding to change over following a plan is the most important one.
Okay, and how you're going to deal with the situation when one of your team member is not willing to, accept this idea of working in a team, in a development team. So let's say that person is coming from a traditional way of working. So how you are going to work with this kind of team members?
Yeah. There are certain stages of development of a team. We have several models. We have the Buckman's model. We have heard about the Shuhari principle and so on. Whenever a person joins a new team, whenever he is new to the Scrum framework, a lot of theory will not do very good to him. I mean, if I make him sit in a particular room, and if I keep him showing presentations, and if I keep him talking about these theories, he may not be very receptive to this whole idea, because with his analytical bent of mind, he may not absorb whatever I'm saying. And after say half an hour, or after 25 minutes, 25 minutes, he would say that, okay, this is something which I can always look after looking at this PPT, and I do not need to listen to this person. So the best idea for somebody who has recently joined the team is to ask him to observe what we are doing. And there should be an icebreaker session, of course, because this person needs to open up to the whole team, to the team with which he's going to work, because he's now part of the team as well. So there can be an icebreaker activity. It could be an icebreaker session. It could be something within the office as well. And once this icebreaker session is done successfully, then this person actually needs to observe what we are doing on a daily basis. So for our team, we have prepared a team charter. So team charter is nothing but a set of activities which each one of us are supposed to accomplish, or each one of us are supposed to complete within a particular day. So it could contain several activities. I mean, it could contain things like you have to update the Jira board on a daily basis. You have to, log a bug whenever, as and when you find it in Jira. It could also be, stupid things like maybe filling your timesheet, or maybe going for, filling your goals in the appraisal system, and so on and so forth. So this team charter actually contains a set of all the activities which you are supposed to accomplish, or which you are supposed to complete on a daily basis. So whosoever new comes into the team, so the people who have been working in the team for a very long time, they have already become accustomed to completing or closing these tasks. But if somebody joins new, we introduce him this whole document. He goes through it. He slowly adapts, changing, or he slowly starts adapting to this whole idea, the whole practice. And as and when he matures, he kind of learns on the go, and then he becomes a part of the team. He starts following the framework, and if there are any questions, if there are any doubts, there are certainly other people. I'm also there to clarify these doubts. So this is how we deal with this kind of a situation.
Great, great, Arun. Okay, I think we are done for today. All the questions we have covered in this session, Arun. And I hope like we will have more sessions, second part and third part of this series also with you.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed the way you have explained all those answers. It shows that you are well prepared. And I would say by the time this video will come out, maybe you will have 10 offer letters. So all the best, Arun. And yeah, I love to see you in future sessions, Arun. Thank you again.
Sure. Thank you, Sunil. Thanks for your time. Thanks a lot for all your efforts. Thank you.
Thanks, Arun.